Good morning, and welcome to another day of Gorgias or Plato. Day 14. Certainly, Socrates speaks. And of the better also, for the more powerful are far better according to you. Yes. I am also reading The Republic on the side, and it's basically the same argument. Then our ordinances are natural, which is interesting because somewhere, I can't remember if I read it here or if I read it in the Republic. I think it's in the Republic, book 2, then, because I read it recently. That one of the interlocutors of Socrates said, well, who better to answer the question how a human being should live their lives than Socrates, because he spent his entire life devoted to that question, how to best live life. Then the ordinances are naturally noble, since they are those of the more powerful. I agree. So I think he was talking about the many, so democracy. And if I think I remember correctly, Plato is not necessarily a fan. Socrates. Now do the many hold the opinion, as you just now stated, that justice means equal shares, and that it is more shameful to do than to suffer wrong? Is this true or not? And mind that you yourself are not caught this time a victim of modesty. Is it the view of the many or not that justice means equal shares, not excess, and that it is more shameful to do than to suffer wrong? Do not grudge me my answer, Callicles. Then, if you agree with me, I may now confirm the truth by the admission of one fully competent to decide. Callicles. Well, that is the view of the majority. Then it is not by convention only, but also by nature that it is more shameful to do than to suffer wrong. And true justice, I don't see why it should have been, life would have been, I don't see why life would have been made more harsh by human beings, as I think it is the case, if it was in fact the case that the majority believed that it is better to suffer than to do wrong, and that equal sharing is good. So apparently what you said previously was not true, and you were mistaken in attacking me when you said that convention and nature are opposed, and that I have recognized this and do not play fairly in debate, but invoke convention if a man refers to nature, or nature when it refers to convention. So I'm just going to pretend that I'm going with Socrates' argument. Callicles. Will this fellow never stop driveling? Okay, Callicles apparently is not pretending the same. Tell me, Socrates, are you not ashamed to be captious about words at your age, considering it a godsend if one makes a slip in an expression? Do you imagine that by the more powerful I mean anything else but the better? Did I not tell you long ago that I identify the better and the more powerful? Do you think I mean that if a rabble of slaves and nondescripts who are of no earthly use except for their bodily strength are gathered together and make some pronouncement, this is law? Well, most sage Callicles, is this what you have to say? Most certainly. Well, my strange friend. Oh, I love that expression. I'm going to use it more often. My strange friend. I have many of those. Well, I don't have many friends, but the ones I have are strange. I myself guessed long since that you meant something like this by the more powerful, and I repeat my question only because I am eager to understand clearly what you mean. For surely you do not consider that two are better than one, or that your slaves are better than you because they are stronger. But start once again and tell me what you mean by the better, since you do not mean the stronger, and, my admirable friend, lead me on the path of knowledge more gently, that I may not run away from your school. I don't know if he's being ironic, but I love those words. My strange friend, my admirable friend, lead me on the path of knowledge more gently, that I may not run away from your school. Oh, well, it's in the text. Callicles speaks. You are ironical, Socrates. I love it when the text just answers your questions. Socrates, though. No, indeed, Callicles, by that very Zethus of whom you made use just now to heap your irony upon me. But come, tell me, whom do you mean by the better? I mean the nobler. Socrates, you see then that you yourself are playing with the words by revealing nothing. Will you not tell me whether by the better and the more powerful you mean the wiser or some other class? Playing with your words but revealing nothing. Huh. By heaven, Callicles says, I do mean those, and most empathetically. Socrates. Then according to your account, one sensible man is often more powerful than 10,000 fools, and it is right that he should rule and they be subjects, and that the ruler should have more than his subjects. That, I think, is what you mean to say, and I am not trapping you with words, if the one is more powerful than 10,000. That is what I mean, for natural justice I consider to be this, that the better and wiser man should rule over and have more than the inferior. Oh, I should check this Greek word. The better and wiser man. Halt there a moment, Socrates says. What is it you mean this time? If any of us are gathered together, as now, in the same place, with plenty of food and drink in common, and if we are of various kinds, some strong, some weak, and one of us, being a doctor, is wiser in these matters, and, as likely, is stronger than some, weaker than others, then surely, being wiser than we are, he will be better and more powerful in his field. Certainly. Then must he have a larger portion of the food than we do, because he is better, or in virtue of his authority should he do all the distributing, but in the use and expenditure of it ought he to seek no excessive portion for his own body, if he is not to suffer for it, but to receive more than less than some and less than others. And if he happens to be the weakest of all, then must not the best man get the smallest share of all, Callicles? Is it not so, my good friend? You keep talking about food and drink and doctors and nonsense. I am not speaking of these things. I love that sentence. Oh, it makes it so real. It makes it so real. You keep talking about food and drink and doctors and nonsense. I am not speaking of these things. Do you not say the wiser man is the better? Yes or no? I do. But should not the better have a larger share? Not of food and drink. I see. Of clothes, perhaps. And the most expert weaver should have the largest cloak. I have an image. And should go around clad in the most numerous and grandsome garments. Garments, indeed. Well then, the best and wisest expert in shoes should obviously have the advantage in them. The cobbler, I suppose, should have the largest and most numerous shoes in which to walk around. The largest shoes. Maybe that's how clowns were made. The cobblers got really big shoes. Callicles. Shoes! You keep talking nonsense. Well, if that is not what you mean, here it is, perhaps. A farmer, for instance, who is an expert with good, sound knowledge about the soil, should have the largest share of seed and use the most seed possible on his own land. That does sound more rational than big shoes. How you keep saying the same thing, Socrates? No, but this does sound more rational. Not only that, Callicles, but about the same matters. By heaven, you literally never stop talking about cobblers and fullers and cooks and doctors, as if we were discussing them. Then will you not yourself say in what matters a superiority in wisdom and power justly entitles a man to a larger share? Or will you neither put up with my suggestions nor tell me yourself? But I have been telling... sorry, my throat, my voice is responding to his frustration. But I have been telling you for a long time. First of all, I mean by the more powerful, not cobblers or cooks, but those who are wise in affairs of the state, and the best methods of administering it, and not only wise but courageous, being competent to accomplish their intentions, and not flagging through weakness of soul. Through weakness of soul. That's a really good antithesis of courage, weakness of soul. Socrates, you see, my good Callicles, that you do not find the same fault with me as I with you. For you claim that I keep saying the same things and reproach me with it. But I make the opposite statement of you, that you never say the same things about the same subjects. Previously you defined the better and more powerful as the stronger, and next as the wiser. And now you come forward with something else. The better and the more powerful are now described by you as the more courageous. But, my good sir, tell me, and have done with it, whom you mean by the better and more powerful, and what is their sphere of action? But I told you, those who are wise in the affairs of the state and courageous. It is proper that these should govern states, and this is the meaning of justice, that these should have more than the others, the rulers than the subjects. And I'm quite sure this is exactly the opposite view that Socrates takes. Those who govern should not actually have more but less, because you don't want people to gather for the sake of what they stand to gain materially. Socrates, tell me, my friend, what is their relation to themselves? Are they rulers or subjects? What do you mean? No, that's Callicles speaking, that's not me. Well, Socrates, I mean that every man is his own master, or is there no need for him to govern himself but only to govern others? What do you mean by governing himself? No, good question. Nothing very subtle, but merely the popular notion of being temperate and in control of oneself. I'm wondering if that's sophrosyn. And mastering one's own pleasure and appetites. What charming innocence, By temperate you mean simpletons. I'm going to stop there. Have a beautiful day.